All right, this month's action step is know your hormone levels. The reason that this is so critical is that hormones are substances that are made by glands in our body. There's over 50 hormones made in our bodies, and they are critical signaling molecules for every process essentially in our bodies. They signal our organs, they signal they signal everything. So hormones play a critical role in all the processes in how we feel, how we look, how we burn fat, how we hold on to fat, how we are infertile or how we're fertile, how we have sex drive, we don't have sex drive, how we have menopause symptoms or we don't have menopause symptoms, how we have low T symptoms or we don't have low T symptoms. All these things are hormone related because they are the chemical messengers that send signals to every cell in our body. So knowing our hormone levels and understanding when hormones are out of balance, that it creates havoc in our body. So as they control every function in our body, it is critical for us to understand what our hormone levels are and how having them in balance can give us optimal health, wellness, and fitness, and how having them out of balance can cause, great problems. So one of the things that we're going to talk about and concentrate on is how hormones affect things like metabolism, how it affects blood pressure, how it affects blood sugar, how it affects body temperature, how it affects how much water we hold on to. I mean, there's just a myriad of things that the hormones play a role in. And so we're going to talk about a lot of different hormones as we go through these CEO membership classes or videos, but this is going to be the next couple of videos are going to concentrate on what are most commonly known as the sex hormones, which we're going to concentrate a lot on estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. We'll hit a little bit on DHEA and maybe some other ones, but those are the three main ones: estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone, and why they're so important to both men and women's health. Men and women have the same hormones, we just have them in different proportions. So men have more testosterone than women. Women have more estrogen than men. And so we're going to talk about all those nuances and how they make a difference and how to look for imbalances and how to measure for imbalances. So, measuring the right numbers is something that I talk a ton about. As a good CEO, we have to know the right numbers. And the problem is that in conventional medicine, the providers are not taught typically to measure what I believe are the most important numbers, which again would include some of our key hormones. Is one of the reasons that I developed my own blood panel, the OptiURX blood panel. So as part of this action point of knowing your numbers, if your provider will not help you get the right numbers, we can certainly help you with that. And then we can obviously help you with the interpretation and our suggestions on what to do. So after more than 30 years of doing consultations, I've seen some amazing things happen by balancing hormones, from infertility to menopause to premenstrual cramps to PMS to overweight, diabetes, asthma, ADD and ADHD. Just a myriad of conditions are caused by hormonal imbalances. And so when we understand how hormones work and we understand the differences in what are synthetic or man-made or pharmaceutical company-made hormones, I'll give you a great example of what I'm talking about when I'm talking about synthetic hormones. The drug companies make a product called Premarin, Premarin. That is a synthetic estrogen hormone. It's synthetic to humans. They will call it a natural hormone. It is natural because Premarin was named Premarin because it comes from pregnant mare's urine. So it's horse urine. It's hormones in a pregnant horse. There's over 34 estrogen hormones in a horse that are not natural to a man or a woman, but they can call it natural because it comes from a horse. That is much different than what we're going to concentrate on and what we compound here in our pharmacy, which is bioidentical hormones, which are bioidentical in structure to what your body makes or what my body makes. So there's a big difference in obviously pregnant horse urine with 34 horse hormones, and hormones that your body and my body would recognize as God-given hormones. So when I'm talking about hormones, I'm going to refer to bioidentical hormones and make the distinction between that and synthetic hormones. I'll give you another great example. A synthetic hormone would be a progestin, Progestin. Many, if not almost all, birth control pills and other hormone-related drugs will contain a progestin. The doctors, the medical schools, the PA schools, the nurse practitioner schools teach these students that is progesterone. Progestin is synthetic, made by a pharmaceutical company. Progesterone is a bioidentical hormone made by men's and women's bodies. They are interchanged in medical schools, and so most doctors and practitioners graduate thinking they're the same thing. The problem is this: with the exception of one thing, which we'll get to in a future video, they have completely opposite effects on our body. So when you think of a progestin, you think of raising blood clot risk, raising cancer risk, raising heart attack risk, raising bone loss risk. When you think of bioidentical progesterone, you think just the opposite: lowering heart attack risk, lowering blood clot risk, actually increasing bone building, so decreasing rates of cancer. So those are the differences in what we're talking about. So it's really important for you as a good CEO of your body and your health and your family's bodies and health to understand the difference, because there's a big misconception. Estrogen to the doctor can be horse estrogens. Estrogen to me is bioidentical to what our bodies make. Progesterone to the doctors can be these progestins, or synthetic progestins that have opposite effects of what I would be talking about when I say bioidentical progesterone. But a lot of times the terms get interchanged, and if we don't know what we're doing and we don't know what to look for and we don't know what to ask about, we can be prescribed something that can be potentially very harmful, and we didn't even realize it. So understanding these things is going to be critical. So know your hormone levels, and there's going to be some things. This is going to be maybe a little foreign to some people, so I'm going to leave you with this for this video. In next couple weeks, we're going to really dive in deep, but I would love for you to write this down, because this is going to make a lot of sense. And if you'll start thinking about this as we go through the next several weeks, this is going to make it much easier. Think of estrogen, and just estrogen. You can write this down. Estrogen equals growth. Okay? Estrogen equals growth. Just think, what sets a man and a woman apart? A woman has more estrogen than a man, and that is what causes the woman to grow the breasts, the different size behinds, those kind of things. So estrogen equals growth. Progesterone, bioidentical progesterone, equals development. So estrogen equals growth, progesterone equals development. So I want you to start to think about those things, that concept, because it's really not that complicated, but I find often that even the OB-GYNs, the endocrinologists, the so-called hormone specialist groups, they for some reason can't grasp these concepts. So we're going to talk about things like what causes endometriosis, what causes fibrocystic breast, what causes menstrual cramps, what causes PMS, what causes infertility, and you're going to need to know that estrogen equals growth, progesterone equals development. So hopefully this will get you thinking, I really need to know my hormone levels. How can I get them? If your provider can't help you or won't help you, we can, and we'll talk about it more in detail next week.